After years of faithfully following God and trusting in his promises, Abraham and his wife Sarah finally have a son, Isaac. And then God tells Abraham to do the unthinkable. Take your son, your only son whom you love, and sacrifice him. This is shocking, and it's really unsettling to read. But don't let the shock of this story, of this command, keep you from seeing one of the most beautiful Easter eggs in the Bible. 2,000 years later, we see Jesus. And we hear the words of the most famous Bible passage, John 3:16, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life." That phrase, one and only son, was applied to Jesus, but it was also applied to Isaac as the one and only beloved son of his father Abraham. And there are more similarities between these two sons, Isaac and Jesus. Both of them were long-awaited promises. Both of them were born to women who shouldn't have had children. Sarah was too old and she was barren. Mary was a virgin. God tells Abraham to offer Isaac at a place called Moriah. Interestingly, Moriah is in the vicinity of Jerusalem, where Jesus was offered as a sacrifice. Abraham and Isaac approach Moriah with a donkey, and Isaac is carrying the wood of the sacrifice on his back. Likewise, we see Jesus entering Jerusalem on Palm Sunday, riding on a donkey. And later that week, he carries the wood of the cross on his back to the place of the crucifixion. Abraham takes Isaac and binds him to the wood of the offering. Jesus is bound to the cross with nails driven in his hands and feet. We're not sure, but it seems that Isaac was a willing participant in this. And we know for sure that Jesus was willing to go to the cross and die for our sins. There's also the hope of a resurrection. Jesus had prophesied that he would rise from the dead, and the Bible tells us that Abraham reasoned that after he would sacrifice Isaac, that Isaac would rise from the dead, that God would resurrect Isaac, because God had promised to Abraham that through Isaac, Abraham was going to have descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, and that through his descendants, all nations were going to be blessed. But here's where the stories diverge. Abraham is about to slay his son, and God sends an angel, and the angel says, "Abraham, stop, don't do it. Don't lay a hand on the boy." What relief. But no angel is sent to rescue Jesus. Instead, Jesus is sacrificed. Jesus calls out to his father. He says, my God, why have you forsaken me?" The story is truly shocking. We're shocked at the idea of Abraham offering his son Isaac to God. No, don't do it. Don't even suggest it. But then we hear the good news that Jesus, the perfect and holy, sinless Son of God, was sacrificed for us, selfish, sinful, unholy, imperfect human beings. And we're not really disgusted with that. We're kind of happy with that. We're like, yeah, that sounds great. Why not? Why not? No, we should be more disturbed at that than the idea of Abraham offering his son to a holy God. So what does this all mean? Where does this take us? Well, it reminds us how different Christianity is, biblical Christianity. It reminds us how unique it is. Every religion in the world says you have to make sacrifices to God. You have to somehow climb the ladder, climb the mountain up to God. You need to do this by going to church, by praying, by meditating, by chanting, by giving offerings, by doing charity, by being righteous, by doing all kinds of good deeds, by making your sacrifices. And yet what we see through Jesus Christ is something very different. We see God sacrificing to us, to people who didn't deserve it. God does the work. God comes down to us through Jesus Christ. And why would he do such a shocking thing? Well, the answer is simple. It's love. God so loved the world. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe, like, and share. God bless.